Ariana Grande and Cynthia Erivo are definitely dating. Ari said that after working together on Wicked, she straight up caught feelings for Cynthia. But like, do y'all really?
Loyalty. Two powerful women who seemed inseparable. But then, a new person entered the picture. Time shifted, energy changed.
Think they're actually in love? Or is this whole thing just for the media hype? Ariana's fans are kind of freaking out because Cynthia is, like, overly protective of
emotional breakdowns, and whispers of something far more disturbing than simple heartbreak. Was it just insecurity? Or did love cross a line into obsession?
Ariana even looks scared or caught off guard with all that extra energy. According to Ariana, they're in this non-demi-curious, semi-binary relationship, and they're super.
There are some relationships that feel magical. The kind where two people meet, and it feels like destiny signed the introduction. That was their story. Two powerful women. Two brilliant artists. Two souls who seemed to understand each other without needing words. At first, the world saw only admiration, support, respect.
What do you guys think about this whole relationship? Like, do you think it's actually possible to fall for someone that fast? I mean, they literally just filmed one movie together and suddenly they're in love? What do y'all think?
Their laughter looked real. Their bond looked unbreakable. Fans noticed the way their eyes softened around each other. The way one always stood slightly closer. The way one always looked proud. It didn't look dramatic.
We're happy as a couple. But another thing fans are worried about is Ari's health. She's been looking skinnier and skinnier every year. And honestly, she doesn't look super healthy lately.
Someone new entered the picture. She wasn't loud. She wasn't trying to replace anyone. She was simply new. Fresh energy. Fresh ideas. A different kind of spark. And suddenly,
Ari, people are saying it's giving low-key obsessive vibes. Have you guys noticed that too? Like, Ari can't do anything without Cynthia jumping in to help or protect her, and sometimes
the laughter moved somewhere else. At first, it was brushed off as work. Success demands change. Growth demands expansion. But love does not always understand expansion. Love understands presence. And presence was slowly disappearing. The one who once felt chosen began feeling optional. There is a very specific pain that comes from being replaced without being told you're being replaced. It doesn't scream. It whispers. It whispers that you are not enough. It whispers that someone else shines brighter. It whispers that the person who once looked at you like home is now looking at someone else like possibility. Jealousy rarely shows up as anger. It shows up as fear. Fear of abandonment. Fear of invisibility. Fear of becoming a memory while still standing in the room. She told herself she was being dramatic. She told herself it was just work. She told herself strong people don't feel threatened. But late at night, when the lights were off and the phone stayed silent, her thoughts grew louder. Why is she smiling differently now? Why does she seem excited in ways she hasn't been with me lately? Why do I feel like I'm fatting? And the more she tried to ignore it, the worse it became. The public didn't notice at first, but energy shifts are real. Interviews became slightly colder. Body language changed. There was space where warmth used to live. Fans began speculating. Social media began comparing. Every photo became evidence. Every absence became a headline. And when you already feel insecure, public imagination feels like confirmation. That's when desperation entered. Desperation doesn't look evil. It looks wounded. It tells you to fight for what you love. It tells you not to lose something precious. It tells you that if you don't act now, you will regret it forever. But desperation also removes logic. She didn't want to lose her. She didn't want to compete. She didn't want to accept that love sometimes changes form. So she began searching for something that would give her control. Control over feelings. Control over distance. Control over destiny. When people feel powerless, they look for rituals. Some people pray. Some people manifest. Some people believe in energy. And some step into darkness thinking it's protection. It started small. Symbolic gestures, private rituals, objects placed with intention. Not because she truly believed in magic, but because she believed in influence. Because she believed that if she could just shift the energy, she could shift the heart. But here's the truth no one talks about. When you try to control someone else's emotions, you poison your own. Around that time, something strange began happening. The one who had moved forward began feeling uneasy. Restless sleep, sudden anxiety, a heavy feeling in her chest that had no medical explanation. Doctors said stress. Team members said exhaustion. Friends said burnout. But she knew her body. And something felt wrong. Homes are supposed to feel safe. But suddenly, her home felt watched. Rooms felt colder. Silence felt louder. Small things seemed misplaced. It could have been imagination. It could have been paranoia. But intuition is powerful. And intuition kept pointing in one direction. The bond that once felt warm now felt charged. Conversations felt tense. Eye contact felt loaded. There was guilt in one pair of eyes and suspicion in the other. When love turns into obsession, it doesn't transform overnight. It erodes slowly. One insecure thought at a time. One comparison at a time. One unspoken fear at a time. And the worst part, the one who became obsessive didn't see herself as dangerous. She saw herself as loyal. She saw herself as devoted. She saw herself as someone fighting for something sacred. But sacred things cannot survive force. Eventually, the confrontation came. Not dramatic, not explosive, but heavy. Truth has a weight to it. And that night, truth filled the room like thick smoke. The fear of being forgotten. The fear of being replaced. The fear of losing identity inside someone else's spotlight. It all spilled out. And with it came the realization. It was never about a new person. It was about insecurity. It was about attachment. It was about believing that someone else's independence meant your rejection. And once that belief takes root, you start seeing threats everywhere. The so-called dark energy was never supernatural. It was psychological. It was the power of guilt, the power of suspicion, the power of broken trust. Because once you believe someone has tried to manipulate your emotions, even symbolically, you can't unfeel that betrayal. Trust is fragile. It doesn't shatter loudly. It cracks quietly. And when it cracks, everything sounds different. The one who felt sick realized something painful. Her body wasn't reacting to magic. It was reacting to stress, to fear, to emotional tension, to the subconscious awareness that something wasn't right. And the one who tried to control the outcome realized something even more painful. Love that has to be forced is already lost. The public never saw the full story. They saw distance. They saw less interaction. They saw separate paths forming. But behind the scenes, it was two human beings facing their shadows. One learning that independence is not betrayal. The other learning that possession is not love. Healing didn't happen overnight. Guilt lingered. Anxiety lingered. But one powerful decision changed everything. She chose dignity over control. She chose self-respect over desperation. She chose to let go instead of tighten her grip. And in doing so, she realized something important. You cannot snatch someone who wants to leave. You cannot bind someone who wants to grow. And you cannot build forever with fear as your foundation. In the end, there was no dark magic. There was no supernatural curse. There was only insecurity amplified by fame, jealousy amplified by public pressure, and obsession disguised as love. The real horror story wasn't a spell. It was emotional dependency. Because when you make someone your entire world, you risk losing yourself when they look somewhere else. And when you lose yourself, you become capable of things you never imagined. The story didn't end with revenge. It ended with distance, with reflection, with two separate journeys toward growth. One learning to stand alone without fear, the other learning to breathe without possession. And maybe that is the true lesson hidden inside this dramatic chapter. Love is powerful, but only when it is free. The moment you try to cage it, it turns into something unrecognizable. And sometimes the scariest thing in the world is not black magic. It's what fear can make a human heart do. And maybe that's the real lesson in this story. Love is beautiful, but the moment it turns into control, it stops being love. Sometimes the scariest thing isn't betrayal. It isn't competition. It isn't even obsession.
Ariana Grande and Cynthia Erivo are definitely dating. Ari said that after working together on Wicked, she straight up caught feelings for Cynthia. But like, do y'all really?
Do you believe jealousy can push someone to dangerous choices? Or was this just insecurity taken too far? Don't forget to like this video.
Do you think they're actually in love? Or is this whole thing just for the media hype? Ariana's fans are kind of freaking out because Cynthia is...
And turn on the notification bell so you never miss the next one. Because sometimes the most dangerous stories are the ones that look perfect on the outside.
Ariana even looks scared or caught off guard with